Hello everyone, welcome to part number 2 of this thing I'm doing with the best tracks in Heat 4. In the last episode we went through 29 through 10, which funny enough was basically covered the entire first round. So from now this will more than likely go to 9 to 1. If we were able to cover 19 in the first one, we should be able to cover the last 9. Anyway, starting off with the first track here is Atlanta, who gathered I think 10% of the vote for the 1 mile to 1.5 mile final before like the actual finale, which we'll get to the top 4, which were the finale, in just a second. So I think the big reason why this was voted into the second round but didn't get any further is because this track is good for like, I don't know, for like maybe a super speedway, I guess. In a way it feels like a super speedway, but it's a mile and a half. You don't really have to let off the throttle in the first couple laps. Inside line is the only good line. Top line doesn't really matter. You can run the top all you want, but it doesn't do you any good. So you might as well just stick around on the bottom. And if you're going to run the top, you're probably just going to want to stay maybe about on this groove right here. Like with your left sides, not your rights though. And that's about as far as up as you probably will want to go. So anyways, let's get into our 2 laps around here. Kind of went a little too high under the corner entry there.
Careful, still there.
29.646.
Alright, you're clear.
Oh no.
Outside. Alright, you're clear.
I hit the apron glitch just about. Well, not an apron glitch, I just lost the car in the corner there, which really sucks. I don't know how I saved it, but that still sucks a lot. Let's move on to the next track. Anyways, next track is the Charlotte Roval. This one garnered 15% of the road course votes. Well, at least for the road course final, this one got 15% of the votes. So this ranks it at number 8. Atlanta was number 9, and of course Iowa in the last episode was number 10. So we are in the top 10 now. We're moving up through that. But yes, this is number 8 on the list. This is my second favorite road course. The other road course moved on to the final 4. Main reason why is just because of how unpredictable this track is, with just at any point, with how screwy second gear is, at any point you could mess up on this track in just second gear alone. You can always weight shift. There's a number of things that can happen. You could accidentally cut the track in the chicanes. You could mess up, hell, you could even mess up the oval part of the track, or you could even mess up turn 1. There's just so much like intrigue on this track in particular. Unfortunately for 704, they get kind of shafted here because, again, the Roval decided to fix their layout, so We're about to come up to where they fixed it, so I'll mention it to you guys in just a second. So we're going through the chicane, and you see this last little bit of rumble strip here in Turtle. They got rid of that part in the actual track and made it cuttable, which kind of sucks for 704. I don't know if they didn't get the news or whatever, but it is what it is. It's not a big mess up. One thing I wish they had in this game, though, as far as like the restarts go, I wish they allowed you to like take the oval restart instead of restarting on the roval. That's not what they do at all in real life. I don't think they ever did that to begin with. So hopefully by Heat 6, 704 has that worked out. I guess motorsport games, but no one's going to call them that. Everyone's going to refer to them as 704 anyway. So we're going back into the oval section of the track. And we're about to hit the backstretch chicane, which is probably the more interesting set of corners. I think this set of corners right here is more interesting than the front stretch, solely because of just how bad the weight shift is and how easy it is to cut that track, just to cut that portion of the track if you miss your braking zone by a little bit. Makes it very, very like just something. I don't know. Oh wow, I hit the turtles. You guys heard that in the game audio. Wow, I hit them hard. Anyways, that'll do it for the 8th place finisher. We're going to move on to the final tie of this entire poll. We had a tie for 6th between Homestead and Phoenix. My personal bias says Phoenix is a top 5 track, but that's not everyone has that same personal bias as I do. I think what makes this track really interesting is just again, it's just really good on multi-groove. Even in 3 and 4, you would think that that's not a very good groove at all. There's no outside groove going, it's just bottom and that's it. You can freight train. But there is a bit of a top groove if you hit it correctly. And that's kind of the groove I like to go in. Of course, the bottom line in 1 and 2 is not the way you want to go. You want to arc out your bottom, so you don't have the corner messed up.
Clear out, hammer down.
Unfortunately, the timer just automatically starts, so I guess we're going to have 3 laps of timed laps,
All clear.
which is okay, I guess. Alright, coming through into the last lap. I want to try and arc this corner out a little bit better. Use a little less braking. Get as big as a run as I can off the corner. Same thing for this one. Except I slowed down way too much, so I lost a lot of speed that I shouldn't have lost. And that'll do it for Phoenix. There we go. Alright. Moving on to the tie. Well, the tire with Phoenix is Homestead, Miami. And then that is going to do it for our ties. And then we're just going to be moving on to the straight shoot choices. So reminder, these two pulled in 20% of the vote. Phoenix and Homestead did. Atlanta pulled in 10%. Roval pulled in 15%. And then we'll mention Dega in just 1 second. So I think one thing, I played Heat 3 recently, and I think one thing they definitely worked on between this game and last game was the fact that multi-groove was actually working in Heat 4 rather than Heat 3, which, no shocker. Like, yeah, it's gonna be a better game. But another thing I noticed was, like, the seams don't kill you as bad. Like, you could get killed by a seam, but it just won't hurt. So, in Heat 3, the two seams that would kill you the most was the top seam and then the bottom seam. Those two would just ruin you. I just flew it in way too hard trying to ride the top line. I'm gonna try it again anyway next lap, but it's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm trying way too hard to get this top line to work. I should probably ride like maybe a lane or two lower. There we go. Got the top groove to work. And there we go, 32.3, not bad. Alright, let's move on. So, let's get right on into the top 5. Coming in at the number 5 position is Talladega. This was the better of the super speedways, but there's still work that needs to be done on it. Even if it's the better of the super speedways, the passing here, like Daytona, is tough to do. Outside line barely works. It is a wider track though, which helps it a lot. You can go 3 wide easily. Well, should be able to go 3 wide easily. You could press 4, but I don't think anyone's really that good to do that online. Maybe AIs you could, maybe against the AIs. But on just online, you're not going to be able to push 4. You could get 3 to work. Obviously 2 you could get to work. Just really hard to run the top groove if you don't have the right people working with you, or if you just don't have a good enough train going around. So let's hop right on into it.
Okay, get back in there. Let's go.
I just realized I'm running a custom setup, so not very good, I wouldn't say. This setup does not get up through the gears that quick. 4th is like, it's not super tall, but it's somewhat tall. See how Kurt Busch is just coming right to the outside? Well, I'm still working on trying to get up to speed. Like, that just shows how bad this car is in gearing. But after that, it's pretty quick. Just gonna suck onto the draft here.
Got a car low now.
How does Boyer, like, beat me out on this thing? He literally doesn't even have the draft, and yet he's got more speed than I do. How does that even work?
Clear.
Are you kidding? Oh my god.
All clear.
I was trying to come down and I came down just a second too early. I'm gonna try and see if I can hold on to Kurt's draft in the meantime. Although I did not mean to kill Clint Boyer in any way. I just came down a second too soon. Alright, there we go. Time to move on to the final four. I need to go pull up the bracket for this, so that way I can tell you guys the percentage, obviously. So let's see. There we go. Alright, so coming in at number 4 on the votes and last in the final round was Bristol Motor Speedway. This track got a bypass basically right to the final because there was only 4 short tracks in the game. So whoever won the first round of the short tracks, they were immediately pushed on to the final. Which kind of sucks for tracks like Iowa. I feel like I maybe should have set up another vote between Iowa and Bristol, just so the short tracks had some sort of competition before the final, but I didn't really think about it. But yeah, Bristol got 17% of the votes. I can see why this track is kind of popular with a lot of people.
You're clear on pit road.
It's pretty easy to drive around on. It's not too hard, really, to ride the top. You can run the bottom too. It's a very nice multi-groove track, is all I'm gonna say. Also, as you guys can see, I'm not really hitting the brakes. I think this is the only short track where the brakes really aren't necessary, and you can kind of just let off the throttle and then just get back on it. Right there, we're in a 15.7. Gonna try to run more on the top side here. Alright, there we go, 15.787, that was pretty good. About the same lap time for both laps. So that'll do it for Bristol. We are gonna move on to the second place finisher, or the third place finisher rather. We'll be on the second in just a little bit. So finishing in third place on the votes was Las Vegas. This one got a bypass in the first round because I didn't have enough tracks. There were 12 mile and a half tracks in the first round alone. Vegas, unfortunately, was the odd man out with the 13th track. So 12 of the 13 got into an actual pole. The last one got to bypass the first round and go to the second round. Mainly due to the fact that I knew Vegas was just going to win whatever, so I pushed them onto the second round, and then Vegas still won in the second round anyway and got moved to the final. Which, in my opinion, this track would have won. This track, hands down, would have won this whole thing. This is probably my favorite mile and a half. It is just, I don't know what they did with this track this year, but this track is just so much better than it has been. They did a really good job in Heat 3 with it. I can't say the same for Heat 2 and Heat Evo, but for this game in Heat 3, this track is just really good. You can run the top on both of them, you can hit the bottom on both. It doesn't really matter. You can run whatever is more comfortable to you. The tires wear down a lot, and honestly, you can get huge runs too. Like, you could get some massive runs if you can control the throttle a little bit more than I can, which shouldn't be too hard, but this track rightfully deserved the top 4. I feel like it should have won the entire thing, but it didn't, which kind of sucks, I won't lie. So coming out of 4, going back down the front straight. Boom, 31083. Alright. Moving on to our second place finisher. Capturing 25% of the vote. Which is somehow I guess 6 votes out of the 24 that we got. This was by the way, the last poll just was the biggest one. We had the most votes on that one poll than any of the other polls we did, or at least I did throughout this entire thing. So, Watkins Glen gets second place with 25% of the vote. Vegas, by the way, did get 21% of the vote. This is the best road course in the game. It's difficult for one. Weight shifting is terrible, which makes it a little bit more challenging. Stupidly cuttable places. Different gears you can go to. Like in 6, you can go from 4th down to 2nd, or you can go from 4th to 3rd, whichever feels comfortable to you in the turn 6. And then turn 7, you can get a nice runoff if you get the corner correct. And then 1, of course, 1 is always a challenge. Getting out of pit road by itself is a challenge too, because you can always spin yourself out on that wall. So if you ever have to pit during a race, you are very cautious on the throttle. So anyway, let's hop into outlap. Oh, I just ran over Hamlin. Move out the way, Hamlin. At least Hamlin's out of the way now before we got into our actual lap. Because that could have been actually really annoying. So for me, I prefer to be back down in the 2nd gear. Go in the shift up to 3rd. Hit the brakes, go back down to 2nd gear. And then go back through the gears again. I wish I was a little bit better though on hitting my marks. Or just hitting the apex as a whole. Braking at 300. And I just turn with the brake.
Right side.
Go up to 3rd.
Clear all around.
Don't hit the damn wall. In the 4th gear. Through the S's. This is a big part of the track where you can weight shift. Gonna max rev it here. Brake before the white line. Kinda overshot the turn, but it's okay, you can Ambrose line it. And through 2nd gear up to 3rd gear, and that's gonna do it. 107, yes. I could have gone for 106, but I messed up so many parts of that lap that I don't even want to look at the track anymore. I'm embarrassed. And now it is time for number 1 on the list. This track was highly voted by everyone. It made it past all 3 rounds, so it really did deserve it. And it got a lot of popular votes by mostly everyone. It kind of was just outmatching pretty much every other competitor that it was up against. And that track is Auto Club. I don't know why this track won. Honestly, this wouldn't even be in my personal top 4, let alone my top 5. I would have put this track at maybe 7th or 8th. It's a better Michigan. It's a way better Michigan. These tracks are almost the exact same. I don't even want to hear it. I would have put this track down though to about maybe 7th or 8th. Would have put Vegas as my 1, and then maybe I don't know, some track like Iowa or Bristol. Or no, Iowa at my 2, and then probably Glen at my 3. But Auto Club got the vote, so we are gonna go ahead and take some laps around this 2-mile track. Of course, we're only gonna be able to do a lap around here. As this is a 2-mile track again. Yeah, I don't see the big appeal to this track. This can get some pretty good racing. Not very well known for being multi-grooved. 3 and 4 is very interesting. There's no other corner really like it in the game besides maybe Phoenix 1 and 2. And I guess you could also say Phoenix 3 and 4. Just all of Phoenix is really weird like that. Otherwise, there's really not another track like it where you can kind of sneak your way down to underneath the inside line. You can go all the way to the bottom of the track if you want to, like I will here, just to showcase it. And also, this track is very well known for being a draft track, but it was highly voted by you guys, and we are going to complete our 1 lap there. So that's going to do it for this 2-part series. I thank the voters. If you voted on Twitter, thank a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks for voting. And those who were able to spread the word around just by retweeting it, liking it, just whatever they could, thank you. Because it got the video out, it got the polls out there, and just got more people to vote, so we can get more opinions and just what people were thinking are this is just one of the best tracks in the game. But yeah, that's gonna do it. I'm gonna end it here, bruh. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.